What's up, everybody? Welcome back to FNG Academy. I just had a quick announcement. I'm proud to say that we've been helping people get selected for 3 years now. I've been getting a lot of messages about people thanking us and saying that they just graduated from selection and they got selected. People graduating the Q course. One of my buddies just sent me a video from the Charlie committee. He asked, if you guys have ever heard of the FNG Academy, raise your hands. And all their hands went up, and it just filled me with pride. So part of the way that we do that is making sure that you guys are physically fit and ready for selection. And the way we've been doing that for the past couple of years is by sending you to a Green Beret we know and trust, Kevin over at 18 Alpha Fitness. So if you want to get selected, you need to be in the best shape possible, and you need a programmer who knows what they're talking about. So go check out Kevin over at 18 Alpha Fitness. Use code word BUCK to get a discount. Tell him we sent you and hook you up. Congrats to everyone who's been getting selected lately, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Beers and Breakdowns. In this episode, we're not drinking beers. Actually, we're drinking what Kurt thinks is a margarita.
More of a Paloma.
Which is hilarious.
It's delicious.
It's really good. It's better than a margarita, but it's not a margarita. All right, so welcome to the fuck?
We were at the intro.
Yeah, right exactly where you just left.
All right, so this episode we're doing something that you guys requested a ton, which we slept on. I never knew anything about it.
No.
I had zero idea about this film. You guys brought this. You are the ones that made this happen. This is all viewers. You said Escape From Tarkov, Escape From Tarkov, Escape From Tarkov. And I was like, what the are they talking about?
Yeah.
And then so I went and Googled it. We found it on YouTube. And I was like, it's a YouTube film? It's on a video game?
Yeah.
Everything about it was red flags wrong.
I did not have high expectations going into this whatsoever.
I was like, this is going to be lame as And then we watched it.
One of the better things we watched in a long, and like by far, like not even close.
Insane.
This is awesome.
So good.
I want to get the game now just because of this movie. Like,
It's
this is
so
phenomenal.
damn good. So when you guys are writing comments and you're putting and you think you're not being listened to because it doesn't come out right away, just know there's a delay. We're listening to you guys, and this episode right now exists because of you guys and because of the comment section. So leave your comments. Also, real quick, just so you guys know, we started a Patreon. It's called the Team Room, and it's awesome. It's Kurt and I jumping on and giving advice, answering questions, doing videos on selection, on special operations, the lifestyle. We have the Tier 2, which is one-on-one mentorship. But go check out the link. It's linked down below, the Team Room Patreon. If you just want to support the channel, there's an option for that. And it really helps us a lot because all those funds go to flying Kurt out, flying myself out, paying for all the equipment upgrades that we need to make the show what it is. So please go check out the Patreon account. And if you guys enjoy what you see, consider signing up. It means a lot to us. Every single one of them hits our phones and we're like, yay! Thank you guys, because it's funding us pushing more and more and more content. So thank you so much. And if you are a member of the Patreon, you're the damn best. Like,
for sure.
Seriously, thank you so much. It means the world to us. So without further ado, let's jump into Escape From Tarkov, which is, I'm going to completely credit to YouTube.
For sure.
To our audience.
For sure. Yeah.
Not YouTube, but our audience on YouTube.
It's our audience on YouTube. It's a movie on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I wish it was more than an hour. It was so good.
So dope.
Let's get in.
Let's
go.
jump in.
Твою мать. Этот хер, походу, со своим стволом ушел.
Твой недобиток сейчас может оказаться где угодно.
All right, pause. All right, right away, something that is way overlooked in the filmmaking industry, and that's shooting through walls.
Oh, right, yeah.
So instantly, like, people are always like, oh, you got to, CQBs, you're always looking at the enemy. And it's like in real world, a lot of times you're not able to look at the enemy.
Right.
And then we just kind of confirmed that when we had Tyler Gray on, and he was talking about a combat experience that he had, And Tyler's plan was, we know that a guy's in this room. We're about to go clear that room. He goes, so I'm going to start shooting through the wall, and then you breach, and then we'll go in.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, yes. We know that walls don't stop bullets. So why not just plan out, like, we know there's bad guys in there. And so even if you're just keeping their heads down so you could move, start shooting through the walls. It's genius.
I mean, perfect
and they do that in
example.
this.
Yeah, you see what happens. You're standing there, and all of a sudden, rounds start coming through that wall.
You're
getting down. You're not like doing anything but trying to survive.
Right.
So now, like, it's the same effect of almost like going in and throwing like a flashbang or something in there, because their heads are down, they're disoriented because bullets are coming through, and next thing you know, here comes the team flowing through the room, and they're right on top of you. So yeah, it's the same thing. When you look at walls, I mean, what you got? Drywall.
Right.
Drywall. You hit drywall too hard, and it's popping a hole in it. So I mean,
bullets are easily passing through drywall. They're easily passing through tin.
It's very easy to clear like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So clear by fire is something we called it in Afghanistan, and it was just laying down suppressive fire to make sure that you had fire superiority and giving yourself the best chance possible. So I love that they started shooting back through the walls. And then maneuvering after, returning fire. So that was just a really cool, very realistic approach to a gunfight.
If you know it's nothing but enemy combatants in there, completely valid point.
Yeah,
valid tactic.
Maybe not the best tactic for police officers, but
right? Yeah,
definitely in a combat situation.
Yeah.
In a combat zone, it's perfect. A great choice. And I loved when Tyler came on. I was like, yeah, I was going to, enter it in. And I was like, so I told him I'm going to start shooting through the wall. And then you flaw. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's super
It's
cool.
smart. It makes
super
sense.
smart, super cool. And it makes perfect sense. All right, so a lot going on here, but there's a few things that I picked up. One, the enemy has the best position.
Yeah.
Because they're behind center block, so they have cover and concealment.
Fortified position, basically.
Yeah, and they just have concealment, so they're shooting from behind thin walls, from behind vehicles. In vehicles, if you guys don't, you probably are. I'm not going to assault your intelligence. Vehicles are only cover behind the axles, behind the engine blocks. Most of a vehicle is just concealment.
Yeah.
So it's not going to stop a bullet. But what I loved about this is going into Afghanistan, my team trained to have the carabiners with a short leash attached to it on our waist at all times. So that was for multiple reasons. One, it was good for going up and down floors, so I could, lower you down into the next floor. But mainly in Afghanistan, it was for this purpose that they used in this show, which is I can clip it to your kit and pull you with it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So instead of having to grab you and use my hands, I can clip my waist belt to you with a carabiner around your kit, and then I can go gun up and pull. And so the whole time I'm walking backwards, pulling your body, I could be shooting and returning fire.
Yeah. That's one thing that's overlooked in a lot of these movies is you'll see guys do things that take away their hands. And all of a sudden, now if your hands are taken away, the gun's taken away.
Right.
You're losing a gun in a gunfight, especially something like this. That's super valuable.
Easy
you
target.
need every round you can get going down range. So as soon as you take your hands out and you're not shooting, that's a huge advantage for the enemy. So yeah, that's crazy. You don't see that in most movies. This one did a really good job.
Right. It's not hard to just take a carabiner. You take 2 carabiners, you strap one here, you run a short leash that has a little stretch to it so it could still be as short as possible. Run it around your waist, and then carabiner on the other side to another belt loop or to something else on your kit. And then it's just there. Or you could roll it and then
put it through
and
like
then
a hitch.
Do it like a hitch. It's up to you, however you want to store it. But then rip it off, attach it to someone's kit, and if I do it on the front, between my legs, I could walk backwards and pull you leaning into it and shooting at the same time. Boom, 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 boom. So, or I could attach it going away from me and do like a football sled drag and be as fast as possible without the idea of returning fire.
And a lot of times you've got it on too, because if you're in a helicopter, you know, you've got your rigger's belt on or whatever, and you're just strapping into the bird so you don't fall out. So it's there. So
many
everything is
reasons.
multi-purpose. You never have anything on you that's singular or has one singular purpose. Everything has to be multi-purpose.
All right, pause. Something that looked amazing. That whole gunfight scene looks badass.
For sure, yeah.
But I don't understand why Hollywood doesn't understand, or this isn't even Hollywood, why anyone that makes films doesn't understand the necessity, and an operator is never going to not run a sling.
Right. Yeah.
You're never going to not sling your rifle.
Yeah.
Ever, ever, ever. Like, there's no situation where your rifle's not slung.
Just carrying
You're just
a
carrying your
rifle.
rifle. Like, that never is going to happen. Your rifle needs to be attached to you. I need to have the ability to throw my rifle. And that's, if you guys don't understand how Special Forces gets rid of their weapons, we don't drop our weapon systems. We throw them. Because it's all, think of it like a guitar. If you ever think of a guitarist and all of a sudden they're trying to be cool and they throw it and it circles all the way around and then they catch it, that little thing they do.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a rifle. We don't let it go. We throw it.
Yeah.
So that way it slings around and then it gets caught up on our back.
Out of your way.
And it's out of my workspace. Because a rifle could be really hindering to your workspace, to getting to your pistol, getting to a secondary, getting to your mags, getting to grenades, getting to your other weapons, your other tools.
Right.
So we throw our rifles to get them as far away from and slung around to the back as possible. So now we could work with whatever else we got. So there's never going to be an operator ever that's like just carrying a rifle without it being slung. It's ridiculous. So when he got it shot and it just shot out of his hands, yeah, it looked really cool.
Right, yeah.
But why would you do that? Why wouldn't it be slung?
Also, like, for the most part, I mean, this is a different scenario, but if you're like humping for a long time, you're going through whatever kind of terrain, you're not going to be holding on to a rifle. It's like carrying, you know, a jug of water for no reason or whatever. Like, you're just
when you
gonna
can
let
put that jug in a backpack.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
going to let it hang every now and then. It makes no sense to not have a sling.
No.
It's ridiculous.
So I just thought that was funny. It looked really cool, but nah.
Авария! Авария! Эту ссылку! Пиратки! Готово ходить!
So with this thing that kind of bothered me was that essentially we're 10 minutes into the movie and they've both been in the same exact locations. They haven't left their warehouse and these guys haven't left the cinder blocks. So we're 40 meters from each other, shooting back and forth, essentially in a standoff. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Shoot, move, communicate.
Somebody's got to maneuver.
Someone
somewhere.
has to maneuver. Whether it's the enemy maneuvering on you, you're going to assume that the enemy's going to be maneuvering on you. So what's your plan? If as a team we're taking contact like this, are we going to assault and kill them? Mm-hmm. If the answer is no, because they have fire superiority, they have the better position, they have everything, then we're going to run. Then we're going to egress. We're going to get out and live to fight another day.
Tactical retreat.
Tactical retreat, right? So we don't like to say things that make us feel weak, right? So tactical retreat. So what is required for tactical retreat? Well, we need suppressive fire, and then we need to start peeling off. So what's the best case scenario here? Maybe 2-man teams. How many guys do we have? So let's do 2-man teams. 2 men peel off while 2 men provide suppressive fire, and then they retreat to a position where they could then provide suppressive fire where another 2-man teams pull off. So we always have covering fire, but part of our element's moving back at all times.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, because either way, whether you're going to advance or fall back, it's the same principles, right? You have to have somebody provide suppressive fire while the other element moves. So in that case, you would normally have one person that takes control. You have a team leader or whatever. It's like, all right, you guys provide suppressive fire while we either advance or fall back, one or the other. So that's like, you don't really see that communication part take place in this scene.
There's a lot of shooting. There's no moving and there's no communication.
Right. Everybody's shooting for their own survival, not for the survival of the team, I guess you could say.
And if you guys ever want to, there's a lot of you guys that message us like, hey, we're writing a film, we're trying to get it to be accurate. We're doing all this with films. It's like, listen, there's certain things you could do to make it a low budget film look really good. And one of them is always have your guys shoot, move, and communicate, because that's accurate. You're never just going to shoot. This is what happens when you just shoot. You have two standoff, and it looks stalemate-ish, and it's like...
Nobody goes anywhere. You're just all wasting ammo.
Right.
Until you just all run out, and you're like, all right, guys, we're out.
Time out. Time out.
All right, see you later. Cool gunfight.
Another thing we could tell you after watching all these shows and all these movies, if you really don't have a good writer, and you really don't have a top-notch writer, this is what you do. Make it in another language.
True. Yeah.
Don't make it in our
True.
language, because the number one thing that pulls the audience out of a good show or a good movie or a good action scene is bad dialogue.
That's funny. I didn't think it.
Yeah. So
That's
don't
true.
do it in English.
They could be terrible actors. I have no idea.
These guys could be horrible actors. We don't know what they're saying. We don't know how they're saying it. We can't even critique how they're communicating, which is a huge part of a movie. All we could do is watch the action.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's a good job.
Make it in another language. You guys are welcome. You got a low budget? Make it another language.
Контроль. Опять повсюду эта хуйня.
All right, pause. Woo. Great scene.
Yeah, I thought tactically they moved pretty well. I mean, there's
a few goofy
things
parts
here and there,
yeah.
like that whole like triple
Exactly.
high low peekaboo around the corner, but
It was almost like that initial when they're punching that first corner. It's like you got the two bros that got it, and then you got that little kid brother that's just like nosy. And he's like, "What are you guys doing over here?" It's like, dude, get the out of here. Like, we don't need a third gun in this.
Yeah.
Because the hallway, you may do multiple things, but most of the time, you got to let your front two guys
True.
cover your angles, and you got to let us flow. Because when we only have one wall, we're gonna go high low.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we go two walls, we're going close side, far side. So if you just look at those angles, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Two guys. We don't need a third guy. Like, where are you cramming
bro,
yourself
just
in?
Don't shoot anybody. Just get back.
Just check our six.
But then the one part I did like, and I feel like
liked a
this is
lot about it.
overlooked.
Yeah.
Like when he went and then he swapped hands, right? So he went, obviously he was right-handed, so going around this corner would be kind of difficult, getting the proper angles. So he swapped hands to, be more left-hand dominant. And so like that's pretty cool that he did that. So somebody knows what they're doing on this scene or on this set.
Yeah, the left to right, the right to left changes or swapping hands is good. And then there was one more. Oh, the double taps.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
he put a guy down, and then he didn't just assume that they were dead. Every single guy he saw, so he did a double tap. Pop, pop. Guy went down. They cleared up to him. Pop, hit him again just to make sure.
Yep.
And then he goes into that right room. Never shot that guy. He's just laying on the ground. What did he do? Pop.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Most movies would never show that. You didn't kill that guy. Maybe that guy got killed from a breach that you guys did, or a bomb that you dropped, or whatever
Maybe he's
happened.
faking it. Who knows?
Maybe he's faking it. Exactly. Maybe he's faking it. Maybe it was a friendly fire incident. You don't know. So you know that you've identified him as the enemy, and he's just laying on the ground. You're not just gonna be like, haha, he's dead. No, you're gonna pop and make sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like when you are for the side, you're like, yeah, that's smart. But when you're against the side, you're like, that's savage. It's like
What an asshole.
that's war, my guy.
That
So
is, yeah.
that's what you do. And war is savage. And the third thing I have to say about it is this is why it's a perfect representation of why hallways are so dangerous. It's a fatal funnel. So they flow into the rooms, they go to come back out, and they start taking contact down that funnel. And so then they have to go back in, and then they're shooting down the hallway. They can't get the angle down the hallway into that room. So you can't fight that guy, essentially.
He could just poke his gun around the side and
Right.
just start blasting, and you're being suppressed. You can't advance on him. They could potentially start to maneuver and get an angle on you at that point. This is probably one of the worst scenarios you could be in.
Right. So this is what makes hallways so dangerous and so hard to do and so hard to do smoothly.
Yep.
And when you're in a hallway, you want to move fast.
Yeah.
Because-
Like this, you've got multiple rooms
Right.
sticking off of this. So as a team of 3-4 people, that sucks because you're always splitting off. You got people holding the hallway, you've got people clearing the rooms, and then you see how dangerous and how easily somebody can get the drop on you like this.
That's another thing that Tyler said that was really cool is like he kind of confirmed, like, you know, how Green Berets get the hand-me-down information on what CAG's doing. And I was like, you guys were really like running, right? And he, you know, because that's what we were told. Like CAG is running right now and they're losing a lot of people. Is that true? And he was like, yeah, we were going fast.
Yeah.
And we were getting hurt, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it was only a matter of time before your ticket got called.
Sure.
And it's like, damn, that's terrifying. But it's also, think about how badass those dudes were, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool, but it's so scary and dangerous. But that's what makes it so cool is because it's so scary and dangerous. But then you have these guys that are like, let go.
Right. Well, I mean, honestly, what's the right answer? You can go slow and methodical, or you can go fast. Each one has its downfall.
Right.
It depends on what the mission is. If you're tasked with getting in there and just clearing the building or hostage rescue or
Exactly.
whatever, you're always going to take risk and you're going to assume risk. So, I mean, you know, this shit isn't not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Like,
Because
it's
no
not.
matter what you do, yeah, the risk just the risk goes up this
Yep.
way. You can go slow, methodical, then you increase your chances, you increase your time in the danger areas. You can go super fast, but then your decision making time goes down exponentially, and you find yourself in the shit a lot faster, a lot deeper.
Yep.
So no matter what you do, there's payoffs.
I remember, you know, for me, one of the biggest learning points on something like this, we were doing CQB training. So we were in a shoot house and my team was flowing through and there was obviously enemy hidden throughout the house. And we were going down a hallway very much like this. And a scenario just like this happened. The guy just stuck an AK around the corner and just started shooting. And we were using sim rounds, obviously. So the small little paint rounds. And for me, it was a big learning lesson because as soon as we saw that gun come around and starts doing this, instinctively, this is when I was very junior on the team, instinctively, I'm just like, you know, like try to get away. And they're like, and it wasn't just me.
Instinctively, you wanted to survive? Yeah.
Exactly, right? and afterwards, we did an AAR, and it's like, why would you do that? You're already in the building, right? The rounds are coming at you. Yeah, somebody's probably going to get hit, but the best chance of survival is for everybody to focus and push through, right? Because where else are you going to go? You're already halfway down the hallway. You can't hide at that point.
Oh, you weren't egressing kind of into a room. You were just in the hallway.
No, it was a hallway, and it was you walk in the hallway, you go all the way down the hallway, and then it splits off, and that's where it happened. There was
You're
nowhere
just-
to hide.
You're just fucked.
Exactly. It's a shitty situation, right?
It's not shit. You're dead.
But you're there, exactly,
Yeah.
and you're there. So the only thing you can do is return fire and keep moving,
Yeah.
right? Because as a team, hopefully you guys can overwhelm them. But
Because real world situation, if we were in that and I'm like your number two, you're getting hit. You're going
Yeah.
down.
So
I'm going to keep shooting. And they're right. It's like shoot, because you may go down. I may go down. But if we keep shooting, the number 3 guy,
right,
the third guy in our side may be all right.
yeah, exactly. And if everybody's just like then you guys are fucked.
Yeah. Then the whole team's dying.
You're fucked. But that's why like training like this is so valuable because you learn little things like that. Because everybody has the instinct to survive, but
And you have to accept. And what who was telling you that? Your team sergeant or your
it was
seniors?
we had another team above us that was it was a catwalk.
Yeah. So
situation,
they're telling you, and which is terrifying in CQB, and which is terrifying about being a special operations soldier, is that you may be a meat shield for your boys. You may be the one that takes all the rounds and gets killed, but it's not about you as a one person. It's about you as the whole team, and you as the whole team does better if you take all the rounds and lose.
That's what people don't think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is CQB specifically. Everybody watches all these movies and plays all these video games. Like CQB is so sexy. It's like this awesome thing. It's like we're Navy SEALs, we're Green Berets, we're gonna go in and kill everybody. Yeah, CQB is sexy when it's done right and everything goes your way.
Mm-hmm.
But the chances that's gonna happen are slim. There's a good chance that if an entire team goes in and you have people that know that you're there and they're expecting you, you're gonna get fucked
Someone's
at some
gonna
point.
lose.
All it takes is one person hearing you coming and they're hiding behind a chair in a room or a hallway and you don't see them. The chances of getting fucked up on CQB are high.
Yeah.
Very high. So
Oh, they don't want to talk about that though.
no, nobody wants to talk about
They
that.
want to think
Be
if
careful
we're
what you wish
so
for.
good at what we do, then we'll always win.
Взял! Перехожу, перехожу!
Внимание. Второй этаж. Там наши окна. Походу, у кого-то днюха.
So right here, so 30, 24, like all of a sudden they start speaking English, and then all of a sudden the production value just goes immediately down, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
you hear,
yeah.
whose music is this? It's Captain Price. Who's Captain Price? Like now you don't have to pay attention to what they're saying, and it's like,
That's, what's funny is one of my notes is when one of the Americans started talking, I was like, this is the worst actor in the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it until you said that earlier. Just leaving a different language.
just leaving a different language the whole time. And it's like all of a sudden, like, so you're in a security position enough to have guys set up as security on the outside of your building, but you're going to blare music
Yeah.
in a concrete building that's going to echo for half a mile.
And there's no communication between the guys on the outside and the guys on the inside.
Yeah. So
Clearly, you're not just going to start shooting and not call it in.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to let people know. So the fact that they're...
what's the point of having security set up if you're not going to have them be an early warning sign?
Exactly.
So the guy starts taking contact outside and no one inside knows, and they're just jamming out to rock music. You lost me a little bit.
That's the Americans.
Yeah, they're the idiots. This scene is bananas.
This scene is chaos.
It's just nothing
Absolute
but chaos.
chaos.
There's no communication that makes any sense. There's no like working together. There's no like tactics being used. It's just like shoot and pray and shoot.
Honestly, though, like, I can't really fault them. Like, everything is so close and happening so fast. Like, you're just fighting for survival at
Yeah.
this point, this is probably one of the worst situations you could ever find yourself in. It's like
Just-
fighting with rifles 10, 20 feet from each other. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary as fuck.
It's a bad situation. Honestly, I would just recommend that there's no communication during this whole scene, because it's like, listen, we're in level 10 danger right now.
Yeah,
Like
this
there's
is
no
your
reason
peg.
to talk. There's only reason to shoot and try to hit the guy so he stops shooting at you.
Yep.
So if you have to like consolidate as a team and then move together as a team, that would probably be better instead of like everyone being everywhere. But right now, this scene to me is just pure chaos.
This is one of those, like, worst case scenario.
It's almost
part,
like just gathering a bunch of kind of like militia types
Yeah.
and then putting them in close quarter combat, and then they just don't have enough training to figure out how to move as a unit and to suppress the fire. But if you're in such a bad situation that it's so stalemate-ish, why don't you just move back?
Right.
So reconsolidate and get out of there and then find a better situation. The best answer isn't always to push forward and lose, when you could just move back a little bit, reconsolidate, communicate, and then figure out how to win.
Live to fight another day.
Live to fight another day.
О, а откуда у этих хренометов?
Идите к ним наверх.
All right, so it's pretty much a wrap, dude. They get you dialed in with 120s.
Yeah, that's pretty effective fire.
Yeah, they obviously have been sighting in your camp. They know where to send the fire mission, and they're just launching 120s at you. Like
They're not walking them in. Like they're hitting the target at that point. Yeah.
So, and they always told us, like, by the time you hear a mortar, it's too late.
Yeah.
Because that whistle is them. It's about to hit.
Right.
It's not going like this. It's going like this.
Right. Yeah.
It's so by the time you hear that whistle, it's just like, start talking to Jesus, bro, because that shit's happening.
I'm coming to see you.
Yeah. My first deployment was all getting mortared every single day. Every single day we got mortared probably 5 to 15 times a day.
Jeez.
So all day long was like, because we had the alarm go off, and then it would just be like, is it my time? We're like, all right, survived.
Still
all
good.
right, survived.
Okay.
I had a captain one time who was taking a shit in the porta john, and he came up and he was like white as a ghost, and we're like, what happened, dude? Then he was like, some shrapnel hit while I was taking a dump. And I went to the john, and where he was sitting, because he was a tall dude, and there was a hole that went right through, right through the door, right through the back of his head. He was taking a shit, and he just went, and he looked at it like, he almost died taking a dump, dude. You know how embarrassing that would have been?
Nobody wants that.
If it was like 4 inches would have hit him in the face, he would have been slumped over with his just hanging out.
Everybody home would be like, he was a hero.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I was taking a
shit, dude. Like, damn, I didn't do anything, bro. So mortars are the worst.
Yeah.
So to have that large of a round, I'm assuming that they're 120s. They may have said it, but I'm assuming they're 120s based on just how big that explosion was. I feel like maybe an 80 could do that. Definitely not a 60.
Yeah.
But so that's a real bad day.
I mean, that whole scene, that was a good attack, right? They start hitting them with the mortars, kind of softening the target, getting everybody like down out of the way, and then they start like blowing through and shooting everybody up and all. It was a good scene, honestly. This movie or movie, whatever, did a really good job of like showing the grit and like the griminess. I don't know what, like almost like the authenticity, almost like not like on Lone Survivor level, but it seemed really good the way they did this movie. It was awesome.
Yeah. Which crazy thing we learned about Lone Survivor?
Which part?
I don't want to say. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that episode. You recommended this movie, and it was awesome.
Thank you.
Great job. This is a badass movie. We loved it. The action is nonstop. It was so cool. And if anyone's watching this that is going to think about making a movie, either A, get the best writers on the planet to make it like authentic, or just change the language, because it's so much better when you could just watch the action and not get caught up into the stupid things writers think people would say.
Yeah.
As soon as they start speaking English, you get pulled out of the story and you're like, what?
The bad dialect, the bad acting, just all of it.
Terrible.
Like, that's a good thing I never thought about, but it was a foreign language film, and I was drawn in for the entire hour and 5 minutes. It was awesome.
Or if you have to have them speak in English because you're trying to represent Green Berets or SEALs or whatever, scrub the script so much, and anything that doesn't absolutely move the story forward, delete it.
Yeah.
Because those people, and then just go like, because Tyler Gray was saying, he's like, when we have scenes for SEAL team, you're not telling them what to say and how to say it. You're saying this is the mission that you guys are going to be accomplishing, and go.
Right.
For the action scenes anyway. And so then they could just do what they were taught and flow, which is what people would do.
Be a team and be authentic about it.
Right. Instead of being like, oh, wait, this is my line.
Yeah.
And so anyway, just think about that. But this was really awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Make sure you go check out the Patreon. Check out the FNGacademy.com. We put we get a lot of questions about when the next ruck trainer is dropping. We know it's awesome. We love it. That thing is amazing. We train with it all the time. I love rucking now because of the ruck trainer, because how comfortable that weight is in the back, perfectly placed in the back. I could change out the weights easily. So we put a timer at the top that says when the next drop is. So no worries. Check out the FNGacademy.com. You know exactly when the next ruck trainer is dropping. Sign up for the Patreon if you want to support the channel and get extra content. If you're interested in becoming special operations, we will help you out. And then let us know what kind of content you want to see on the Patreon so we could further help you guys the best that we can. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you. To our Patreons, you're the best. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
And